Yo, what is going on, YouTube? And welcome to another episode of Premium Takes. This is episode 12. First off, I just want to thank Adam and Mac for holding it down week. I couldn't make it due to personal matters, but I'm back now. I'm set to go on episode 12, and thank you guys all for joining in today. And let's get it. How is you guys' day going?
I'm doing great, man. Sitting here enjoying some basketball, man. Great basketball this weekend, man. You gotta love the March. You gotta love March Madness. You gotta love this NCAA tournament. It is my favorite sporting event every year. I look forward to it. It never lets me down. Never a disappointment, man. And it's just once again this year, it's just as advertised. March
Try.
Madness, man. You can't beat it, man.
Let's get it, Jeffrey.
I'm
Absolutely.
doing
How's your
well.
day going, Adam?
Doing well, doing the dad thing, two kids running around trying to keep them corralled most of the day, and then joining you fellas to kind of get my break away from it all and talk some sports. So thanks for asking.
What's going on,
Absolutely.
Jeff? How you doing out there, bro? Super Taj,
Absolutely.
Logan. What's going on with y'all, man?
Absolutely. Shout out to the fam holding on the chat like always. So we're gonna change a few things. What's up, Love Vance? Let's get it.
What's going on,
Uh
Levance?
Going forward, guys, we're gonna change a few things. Like I have love for all of you guys right now in the chat, and I would love to bring you guys on a 30-minute sessions one of these days now that I got everything set up. But that being said, for our premium takes, us as a crew has decided to, just do no call-ins. But we are still going to give you guys fire information, and we're still going to answer questions in the chat. So make sure any question you guys want us to answer, any topic you guys want us to talk about, we'll try to get through our main questions, and then at the end of the show, we'll try to pick up those questions. If it's pertaining to the topic we're talking about, we'll take it in the middle of the topic. Let's get it. I'm absolutely. It's gonna be a good show, Jeff. Brings us to our first question. I'm gonna let Mac and Adam kind of take this one because for me, I'm a fan of basketball, but I just kind of put on the game today because I just really wanted to see. I haven't been watching it, to be honest. I watched it a little bit, but I put on the game today and it was really good. I actually called Mac and I'm like, "Yo, you watching this game?" He's like, "Absolutely, I'm watching this game." So I know they did a bracket on last week's episode. So the first question is just gonna be like basically NCAA March Madness talk with Adam and Mac. I'm gonna let them continue where they left off from last week, and we'll go from there.
Well, so far, so good. I'm loving this tournament. It's awesome. March Madness, NCAA basketball, man. You getting the best of the best going at it, man. You seeing a lot of small schools put on a show, man. Shout out to St. Peter's, small school up in Jersey City, New Jersey, on their way to the Sweet 16,
Absolutely.
15 seed, on their way to the Sweet 16. That's what I'm
On,
talking about. That's why I love this tournament. That's why I
on,
love it.
man,
That's why
man.
I love it
Woo!
because things like that happen
What's
on
up,
any
Ash?
given day. You never know what's going to happen, as you saw, St. Peter's knocking off two nationally ranked teams in the opening two rounds of this tournament, knocking off the big bad dogs of Kentucky, and then knocking off Murray State in the second round as well last night. And now they on their way to the Sweet 16. And just otherwise, there's been so many great games, man. I'm sitting level with my Villanova Wildcats is doing in this tournament, man. I mean, so many good upsets in the first couple of rounds. You had Richmond Spiders. The Richmond Spiders knocking off the Big Ten champion Iowa State Hawkeyes in round one. I just love the excitement of this, man. I just love to see these teams just put on a show, man. These good young talent, man, out there showcasing their skills. Like I said, right now we did a bracket last week. We got our whole Final Four is still intact. Overall, we're not doing so well in the bracket, but that's how it is. A lot of people put brackets in, and some people just break them down a little bit better. But
What's up,
we
Nate?
got our whole Final Four is definitely in full effect right now. Two of our Final Four teams have already advanced to the Sweet 16, and the other two got a chance to advance later on tonight before the night is over with. Overall, though, we're ranked 870,904th place. Yeah, that sounds pretty messed up. I get it, but that's where we sitting at right now, man. Adam, you got anything, bro?
Oh man, I'm
What
sorry to
up,
laugh,
Nate?
but
What up,
when you
Chris?
put
Thank you
the
guys for
when you
joining
put the
in.
number out like that, it's like, yeah, well, we're 8,560 something. It makes it fun. I mean, hey, listen. We're watching Michigan Duke right now. They're playing a great game so far. The
Let's
NCAA
get it.
tournament,
What's up, G
having
Nation?
St. Peter's prep actually us pick them in our bracket to advance is kind of great. There's always a Cinderella story, and I picked the wrong New Jersey team. I picked Seton Hall. I should have picked St. Peter's Prep. Well, little did I know that this was going to happen. Normally a 15 doesn't upset a 2 seed, but here we are. That's why we play the tournament, right? This is why you play the games. And this is why this playoff and probably the NFL playoffs are one of the most watched playoffs in the world. Why? Because you lose your game, you advance, or you go home, right? There's none of this 7-game series. Let's play you again. It's you win, you advance, and the march goes on. So I'm enjoying it right now. I'm not a huge watcher of it, but I've been watching some games this weekend to catch up on our brackets, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'll tell you why I like college basketball.
And go
Or I
ahead and
understand
read
it.
Levance's comment when you can, Adam, please.
Oh, the Richmond Spiders, the first 15 seed to ever beat a 2 seed. 1991, Richmond beats my Syracuse Orange. Billy Owens' last game as an Orangeman.
Yo,
Great
Levance
stuff.
always dropping the nuggets in the chat, man. That's
That's
my
what I
guy,
like, man. We
Levance.
like to eat them up.
But yeah, this has
I
just
guess
been
let's
great.
go down some of our bracket upsets. So inform the people on how our 8,000 ranked bracket is doing.
Well, and we're doing really well in the Midwest region. We've only missed one game in that whole entire region, man. And that was the first round 8-9 game, San Diego State and Creighton. We took San Diego State and Creighton knocked them off. That's literally the only game we've missed so far in that region. But all the other 3 regions, not so well. Can't say we've done so well in other regions. We had Seton Hall advancing in round 1 in the 8-9 matchup in the South against TCU. That did not happen. They got that ass whooped. And we had picked the upset special Tennessee Chattanooga to beat the Fighting Illini, Illinois. And it was a heartbreaker, man. Illinois nipped them out by 1 point, man, 54-53 in the first round. So yeah, we dropped the ball a couple spots there, man.
Hey,
But
listen, we're just having fun. We're just having fun.
absolutely. We did indeed though pick that St. Peter's to beat Kentucky in round 1. That is right here on our bracket. We did do that. We made and we got that right. We nailed that. That's a big upset special right there that we did pick last week.
We aren't
And
lying. You guys who made this bracket last week, check out last week's show. You could see it. Max just reading
absolutely,
right off of it. So
absolutely, that's what I'm doing. We had a little more. We had a little too much faith in UConn up there
yeah,
in the West
I did.
region. There,
I
a
did.
little
My
too.
my dumb
So
ass.
Thank you,
that kind of
Jeffrey.
busted our bracket up a little bit. We had UConn going all the
I
way
hope so, though.
to the Sweet 16, and they got knocked off in round 1 by New Mexico, which was also a great game that night. That kid on New Mexico State, who I never heard of before before Friday night Thursday night was out there balling, man. And
Thanks
yeah,
for nothing, UConn. Thanks for nothing.
but yeah, overall, man, it's still been fun. Like I said, our whole Final Four is intact. For those of you that might not have been here last week to see our Final Four, we had Gonzaga from the West, Purdue from the East, Villanova from the South, and Kansas from the Midwest. And all 4 of those teams are still alive. However, Purdue and Kansas do play their games later on today, and we'll see what happens. We hope they both advance and keep at least our Final Four alive.
That
We'll
would
talk
be
about that
amazing.
next week still.
And as it gets closer, it's going to get more fun and more exciting. And I'm excited that our Final Four is still right now, at this moment as we're recording this show, still alive. So a lot can change from now until next week.
Absolutely.
You're muted, Zion.
My bad. Now that we got some March Madness talk, we can always go back to it, but let's switch it over to free agency. There's a lot of news that's happening that I never covered. I know that I've been gone for a long time, but let's bring it back, you know what I'm saying? With free agency, so much talk about, so let's just talk about the QBs. I know that's a lazy question, but
Okay,
a lot of
actually, I'm glad you
QBs.
started with the
Yeah, a
QBs,
lot of
sir.
QBs got traded, a lot of QBs moved around, where do you guys want to start about? And
Let's
let's begin.
let's talk about some
Let's get it.
quarterback movement. And this has been very unusual offseason of quarterback movement. And I think what is saying to me is that these NFL scouts all around the league this offseason are absolutely not believers in this quarterback class coming out in the draft. With all these big quarterback trades and free agency signings, whatever, these quarterbacks, it's just too much movement in the quarterback position this offseason with teams feeling like they need to bring in somebody already ready-made, and they can't take a chance on any of these guys in this draft coming in and being the guy for them, at least not right now. I'm not saying some of these quarterbacks still won't be drafted high and teams can just put them, but I think teams want to be able to draft these guys and stash them as opposed to bringing these guys in and trying to take a chance on any of these guys being the man right now for them. Because I've just never seen an offseason of quarterback movement quite like this. Now we got Baker Mayfield, who's also going to be on the market. So this is just nuts. And I mean, people can say what they want about Baker Mayfield. He's better. I feel like he's better than what the quarterback class that's coming out right now in this draft, and a team will be more likely to take a chance on Baker Mayfield than one of these quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. So I just feel like it's just the writings on the wall there. I think these NFL franchises are speaking as to what
we're talking about
exactly what they feel like about these quarterbacks in this draft, because it's just too much. Nobody seems to want to take a chance, and everybody who had quarterback needs seem like they're addressing them through free agency or trades as opposed to waiting to draft one of these guys.
Absolutely. Just allow that. I don't know why it's locked. You can take it over, Adam.
Well, Mac, you're right. This has been the craziest free agency period I think I can remember in a long time, not just with the quarterbacks, but overall. But sticking to what we're talking about now with the quarterbacks, because I'm sure we have other nuggets of information with other free agents. I think it's interesting. I don't necessarily think that the quarterback, that doesn't mean you're going to not draft a quarterback. I agree with you, however, that a lot of these guys are hedging their bets with getting starters in place because these guys may need time to develop. But there was a Malik Willis video that came out and showed his footwork working out at his pro day or close to it. So, who knows? I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, the latest one that Zion's pulling up for you right now is Deshaun Watson, which is one of the most insane quarterback deals I've ever seen in my life. For a guy who hasn't played in a year, to get this kind of money, what are the Browns thinking? I mean, my God. If I'm Deshaun Watson, this question for you. What is he thinking? Why would I want to go to the AFC when the entire AFC is stacked with teams? Why wouldn't I want to go to the NFC where there's possibly 2, maybe 3 teams I can possibly join and be a part of and beat?
And absolutely right. I wanted to get in that Deshaun Watson move because if you look at the Cleveland Browns and you look at the people that they're acquiring, and let's move into, after I talk about Deshaun Watson, we're going to move into the AFC. That being said, like Deshaun Watson is fully guaranteed $230 million, which is a lot of money. The most he broke the record for fully guaranteed money, and he deserves it because if he can take Houston to the damn playoffs, you deserve a bag. All right. That being said, they even bring in someone like Amari Cooper. Like I researched Amari Cooper before going live. I don't really like him, but like what I like about him is he's consistent. This guy has 5 seasons. I think he got injured in the middle of his career, but he got 5 seasons with over 1,000 yards. He's a receiver that Deshaun Watson can fully depend on. Yes, he had that with Hopkins, and now he has that with Cooper. Obviously, 2 different players. But let's just move into a talk as a whole with the whole. Go ahead with the whole AFC. And you can begin. Mac, or you can say something.
I'm sorry, my fault. I was just gonna say, man, that I agree with the chat, man. Cleveland is crazy, man. For what they gave up to acquire Deshaun Watson, and then to turn around and have to give him that contract like that is just I just can't understand. Like they better win right now this year, and I'm gonna tell you what, with the way that AFC West is stacking up, that's not going to be an easy task in the AFC. So,
Mac, it's not even the AFC West; it's the entire AFC. The conference.
Oh yeah,
the conference.
And let's talk about the AFC West right now because we got a big signing and who just
they have several big signings.
Well, I think LA Chargers is the team to beat in that division. On paper right now, I know everyone's going to say Kansas City. On paper, that team's going for it. They got who do they get? They got Austin Johnson, Khalil Mack. They got Khalil Mack for a second round pick.
they got Khalil Mack.
Round pick. You know what
Who's
you
the
could have
D-back
done?
they got? Didn't they get a corner or a safety? They got who the hell?
Yes, J.C. Jackson from
Oh yeah, J.C. Jackson. Yeah,
Casey Jackson, right
New
there on
England.
screen, guys.
Like,
$82.5 million. I don't know
let
what
me
that
explain
40
Khalil
million
Mack real quick.
guaranteed.
Khalil Mack getting it for a second round pick is straight stealing.
That's
Straight
stealing, yeah.
stealing. That's thievery. I don't even know if that's a word, but if it is, we're adding it to the dictionary, and you can put Khalil Mack's name there because that's what happened. They were like, "Oh, we're going to dump some salary. Here you go." Not only they have Bosa, now you have Khalil Mack, Derwin James. I mean, my God, and J.C. Jackson.
Who do you double team?
That's the one
Exactly.
that the chat wants to talk about. Next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. We got Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
Fire.
the Raiders, Devontae Adams. I mean, they brought in Chandler from Arizona. Like this whole division is
Well,
stacking up, man. They are loading up in this division, man.
I think their best pick is Garrett Gilbert. You know, I mean, my God, what a great signing that was. Great backup QB. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just around.
What I want to talk about too is you guys mentioned it earlier is the Russell Wilson trade to Denver. That automatically makes Denver a championship kind of team. I'll say it. I'll say it. I have them competing for the AFC championship next year. Call me crazy. All that team needed was a quarterback. They have a young receiving core. They have a good defense, and look who they
As
brought
much
in with them too. You know, a lot of veteran players in Randy Gregory, a lot of veteran players in DJ Jones. Obviously, DJ Jones is not a household name, but he's still a legit player. You know what I'm saying? And with the backup quarterback with Josh Johnson, agreeing to a 1-year term. I mean, like Denver is a good team, and all they really needed was a quarterback. So I
Well,
wouldn't surprise me if they're
what's going
deep
to
in the
come down
playoffs next year.
what's going to come down to in this division, honestly, for
It's
me,
too early to tell, though.
looking at the way all these teams are stacked, it's going to come down to which team can stay the healthiest because they're going to beat each other the hell up all
right.
season long. It's going to be some fun football to watch out there, man.
Way too
Those
early
are
to
going to
tell,
be
Big Bro.
great games because you got 4 teams that can definitely get it done on offense now. With Denver acquiring Russell Wilson, they officially can get it done on offense now. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because
Do you
they
think
got
it's
some
the
good
best
pieces
division of
already
all
in place.
time?
It may just be, Adam. It may just be, and I've seen some good NFC East divisions back
Right.
in the day. You know what I mean? But this division is absolutely stacked. I've never seen anything like this in
I mean, there's a
in my
star in every
years
team.
of watching football. Every team, big name stars on
That's
Absolutely.
hard
every
to
team in
have
this
on 4
division.
different teams, right? I
Kansas
mean,
City isn't even making that much noise, and yet they just loaded anyway. So it's just
I
like
mean,
they.
let's look at the quarterbacks: Mahomes, Wilson, Herbert, and Carr. I mean, Carr is no slouch either. And then you
There's
got
never been a division of quarterbacks like this. I don't think ever.
Absolutely.
and the
I mean
Chargers.
ever.
The Chargers weren't like a 6-10 ball club last year. They won like 9 games. I mean, they make the playoffs, obviously, but we're not talking about a team that's that was a 4-13 ball club. We're like, oh, they got some. No, they were good, and now they just got really good.
Well, they tightened the defense up because offensively, as you know, they can already play. You know what I mean? So they just had to tighten that defense up, which they clearly had because that pass rush is going to be fierce. Because who are you going to double team? Bosa,
Right.
Matt. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't double team both of them. So
I don't know, but the LA pass rushers seem to do well in LA. Look at Von Miller. I'm just saying, you go out to LA Air and something changes you a little bit. Getting away from Chicago under all that doom and gloom, going to a nice shiny new stadium in LA with a new team, new quarterback, an actual quarterback. Khalil Mack must be ready to go, man. He's probably calling up Bosa, working out, doing something, getting ready to go. Say, let's make you the best defensive end tandem ever. My God.
I am excited to see this new look Denver Bronco offense with Russell Wilson at the helm too, because they already have receivers that I love over there, man. Like I said, I would have tried to figure out a way to not include Noah Fant in that deal. However, it's water under the bridge now. It's done, whatever. But I would have tried to figure out a way to keep him on board in Denver with Russell Wilson coming over there,
They
man.
got that
And
young.
that kid would have turned into a super. He would have
They
turned
got
into
that young kid though. Like
a
I
top
feel
tight
I
end,
feel
man.
you, Mac, but they got that young kid.
With Russell Wilson at quarterback, Noah Fant would have turned into an absolute top 5 tight end in the league. I guarantee he would have with
I
Russell Wilson
think
at quarterback.
I
It
think you're right
just
too, but I'm forgetting his name. But the guy they drafted not that long ago too, he's a baller as well, and I think that's why like Denver looked at him like, oh, okay, Russell Wilson can rely on this guy because he's a baller. I'm forgetting his name right now, but I know they have a stud at tight end.
but with Jerry Judy and who is it? I can't remember the other guy's name, the other receiver, but those guys, the running backs,
Sutton.
yeah, Sutton,
Yeah.
yeah, Sutton, and the running back Williams, man, that kid
Mhm.
is poised to have a big year as well. Let me tell you that right now. Just give him the ball. Give him the ball, Denver. If you're smart and know what to do with it, man. Yeah, so this is gonna be exciting football to watch out in that AFC West, man. I'm gonna obviously be following my New York Giants extra tight, but I'm gonna definitely be keeping an eye on that division each and every week, man, because it's gonna be some crazy football going on out
It's
there,
gonna
man.
be fire. And we're gonna get into the AFC, the
And something
NFC.
I noticed in the chat earlier too, when
Continue.
Jeff was talking about the Raiders weapons. Imagine how those. Think about how good those guys were able to do last year, and they just added Devontae Adams to the
Adams,
mix.
yep.
I mean, Hunter
Yeah,
Renfro was already getting the job done anyway. You know what I mean? And
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 they have
and,
Darren
and, Wa-
Waller.
and Waller and Darren Waller. And now they've added Devontae Adams to the mix, and Josh Jacobs is
Okay.
going to re-emerge. I'm telling you, as a stud running back, because that's going to just open things wide open for them, man, in that running game in Oakland, man. Because oh man, it's going to be some fun football to watch out there. Damn, let's go, baby. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit, what I mean, I'm feeling it right now,
Oh,
man.
you Gucci, bro. You Gucci. Hell yeah. What I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you
get
guys
get fired up. We're
to
we're
talk
what,
about.
we're like 6-7 months away. This is what you want to have in the NFL right now. You want that fire. Let's go, baby.
Absolutely. What I wanted to get into, and I kind of want to talk about too, guys, is was it a move that retire? Let's move some money around and let's come out of retirement. That's how I'm feeling that it was. You know what I'm saying? Like with Tom Brady, in a sense of he said he was gonna play, then he goes retires out
Oh,
of nowhere, and
um,
then he comes. I think it was just moving money around to renegotiate his contract. Am I wrong to believe that?
I just think he was waiting to see who was signing. To be honest with you, if
Okay.
everybody was leaving, they would have been. He probably would have left. But because they have the money and Chris Godwin is signed, Mike Evans is still signed. They're like, let's run it back another year.
And then
Gotcha,
obviously,
gotcha.
he can get his boy Gronk back on board. So
That is true.
And let's
You
be
guys
honest,
want
he was playing his best football last year, one of his best seasons. So it's not like he looked like he was cooked last year. I understand if
oh
it was
no,
like Ben Roethlisberger,
he wasn't
I could
cooked.
totally see that. But he was playing good football.
he absolutely was. He was still playing. He was the MVP candidate still, right at the end of the season, wasn't he?
He was
He
absolutely, but like I just looked at it like of a move to save some money and like I'm not saying he finesses, but like I'm just saying he's super smart on the way they go about the dealing. You know what I'm saying? And he's been giving back, and he hasn't. All these quarterbacks are demanding all these $40+ million contracts, and here's a guy that always gave back and always put the team before his money. You know what I'm saying? And obviously we know who his wife is. We're not going to get into the money situation, but I just felt that was more of a make some help out the team, make some adjustments, and then I'll come out of retirement and I'll play for you guys again. That being said, let's get back to the NFC East talk. Well, let's get into the NFC East talk. You guys want to begin at the Cowboys, or should we just go straight to the Giants?
Whatever you want to do it, brother.
All right. Let's just go team for team. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys and we'll go down. We got Michael Gallup, obviously earning that. You signing a $57.5 million deal that includes a $23 million guaranteed. I put it on screen for everybody can follow along and read. I think that's awesome. Hopefully you guys think it's awesome too. That being said, is there any I think that's a good signing. Getting rid of Amari Cooper, him signing with the team we were just talking about and getting Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup is a consistent receiver for them, and he has shown that unlike our receivers, he can actually catch the ball. Not throwing shade at our receivers, but he's a consistent receiver. And, he's a legit receiver in the league. Some people may not put him as elite, but he's like kind of like I would say a Julian Edmond, a guy that's reliable, right? And
No,
I think that's a big move by the Dallas Cowboys. And if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, what it was last year, being just a fan of football, man, they have a good football team, and they're not that far off of reaching the promised land. But we know it's never going to happen because Dallas always chokes in the playoffs. But that being said, they have a legit team. But any moves that they made that surprised you guys before you move on?
Oh, well, I was just gonna touch on Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup is a very talented wide receiver.
Mhm.
If I mean, I'm just gonna keep it real. He's been in a situation with the Cowboys where he's been technically listed at like number 3 on their depth chart. But let's face it, Michael Gallup is a legitimate number 2 wide receiver in this league,
Or maybe-
and maybe even a low end number 1. To be quite
I like
frank,
Gallup.
Michael Gallup is very good. And I think the Cowboys, what they did was they knew going forward they weren't going to be able to keep all 3 of these receivers and be able to pay them because they all would command decent salaries. I mean, they're all very good receivers. So they picked their poison. They gave Amari Cooper away to the Cleveland Browns, and they they re-signed Michael Gallup, and they know they're going to have to re-sign CeeDee Lamb coming up in the next year or two. So I think
Yeah.
they just picked their poison, basically chose who they wanted to continue forward with, and I think they're not going to lose a beat. They shouldn't lose a beat with Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I still do believe Mark Cooper was the best of those 3 receivers myself personally, for my taste. But at the same time, they're not going to lose a beat with Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. Those are still 2 very good wide receivers, man, to work with in that offense.
I like Gallup. I think the biggest free agent move they made was keeping Dalton Schultz. If you franchise a guy, that's obviously an important guy. I think Gallup, to me, if he leaves, no big deal because of the receiving core that's in the draft this year. You can replace him easier, but they obviously like him more than Amari Cooper. I've always liked Gallup. I always thought if he was on the Giants, he'd be an upgrade to what we have. So the Cowboys get to keep their guy, knows the system, and, who knows? Maybe this pushes him forward. I like Dalton Schultz, like I said. I would have liked to see him on the open market, but we'll see. I mean, $11 million for a tight end is a little much, but hey, other than that, everything else is kind of gravy. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence kind of, they lost Randy Gregory, so that might hinder them a little bit. Let's see what they do.
That situation was funny with Randy Gregory, by the way that all went down. They came out with the announcement that that he was signing back with the Cowboys, and then like a couple hours later, no, never mind, I'm signing with Denver.
Psych. Just kidding.
All right, let's move into the best team in all of the land of football, the New York Giants. Let's get it. Signing Tywan Taylor to an $11 million deal with a max value of $17 million with incentives. We got a reliable tight end, a blocker first, but could go out there and get the football in Ricky Seals-Jones, and 2 offensive linemen. That is, not so much flashy. No offensive line is really that flashy unless you're elite. But anyway, guys that can that we can adjust to, that can battle for the starter positions and probably win. One of them probably be a starter with the $20 million contract and work Gronkowski. I'm not even gonna try to Gronkowski. This me, I don't know, slaughtering his name. Anyhow, I like the moves.
Mark Glowinski.
Lewinsky, thank you so much. That being said, guys, I like the moves because it's not really big flashy moves. It's more of moves that we needed. Now we have Tywan Taylor in there. I still think that Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback to start, but Tywan Taylor showed that he's a legit quarterback. The universe didn't really have the cards right for him. Every time he had led a team and won out for that starter position, he ended up getting hurt. But a guy like Tywan Taylor is a good teacher in the sense of teaching Daniel Jones and helping him out on the bench, on the sideline with the tablet. I think it's an awesome move. And if Daniel Jones had shown that he's injury prone, so if Daniel Jones goes down, us as Giants fans don't have to be too worried about Tywan Taylor commanding the offense because Tywan Taylor showed that he commanded the offense. I'm not trying to get into any big conspiracies here on Tywan Taylor winning out Daniel Jones in training camp. We're just gonna right now. I just think that Daniel Jones is a starter. And do you guys have anything? I know you guys have a lot of things, so I'm just turning the mic over to you guys and let's talk the New York Giants.
Well. Yeah, I love the Tyrod Taylor signing because it brings in a veteran quarterback with plenty of starting experience. And he's not. I mean, he's not the greatest. He's definitely been mostly a backup throughout his career. But he's the kind of guy that can come in and not make Daniel Jones just feel so comfortable that this job is definitely mine. Daniel Jones is going to have to work and earn. Because Tyrod Taylor is not just coming in here to just accept sitting behind Daniel Jones. He's going to work his ass off and try to beat out Daniel Jones. And that's the beauty of this signing because Daniel Jones needs that extra kick in the ass, I believe, to maybe jumpstart any future he has with the New York Football Giants. The Ricky Seals-Jones signing. Reason I love this signing is because we're clearly going to need to address the tight end position in the draft still, or even further along here in free agency. But to bring in a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones now is you're guaranteeing some form of also another veteran presence in that room. You know what I mean? We're not going to just go out and think we're going to draft a couple of guys and just boom, get on the field. That's it. You guys got to be the guys right now. You know, you got somebody in there that can help these kids out, man, when you bring them in. And the offensive lineman signing, I love them because
Yes.
I'm not so convinced that Feliciano's guaranteed to come in and be a starter, right? But he could possibly be just coming in to be a depth piece. But Galinsky is a slam dunk coming in right now. Plug him in, right guard, bam. That's our starting right guard right now. And to be quite frank, our best offensive lineman already. He hadn't even taken a snap in a New York Giant uniform. But that's just what he's done throughout his career so far. So coming in, it also opens us up in the draft now to be able to be a little more flexible with those picks. Whereas opposed, we're definitely don't necessarily have to be feeling the need to draft for need so much. And if we got the absolute stud player there that's just high on the draft board, no matter what position they are, we can just have an opportunity to just go out and grab anybody, whoever, the best available, whatever, and just help move forward with this off season, man.
I think I like what they've done so far. Addressed offensive line. At least 5 guys have been brought in from the offensive line. Gano, some dude from the Tennessee Titans, forget what his name was. Joe Feliciano, the Galinsky kid, and Corey Cunningham. So 5 guys are signed. They're trying to do the best for this offensive line. Tyrod Taylor's interesting signing to me because you could have done a lot of things here, and you gave $11 million with the incentive to get to $17 million. So while I like that he's a backup, it tells me they're not hedging their bets with Daniel Jones because that's a lot of money to give a guy who you could have gotten. Colt McCoy, he signed for 2 years, $7 million. But you got a guy who's got 2 years, $11 million with a possibility of 17. We all know Daniel Jones can't stay healthy. Neither can Tyrod Taylor. But the point is, you don't think that guy is going to be like, I want my money? Like, come on. You're telling me that there's $6 million left on the table. I'm supposed to come in here and just hold a clipboard? I don't think so. I think we got to look at that. Plus the second-year deal, meaning he's going to be a bridge quarterback for possibly next year if Daniel walks or stays, whatever. I think this is more of a calculated move than people think. Ricky Seals-Jones is a bum. That's okay. I mean, we love everybody that gets signed, but he has done nothing in football outside of catch a few passes. He ain't going to block for you, okay? He might come out of the backfield a little bit. He's more of a deep middle tight end, beat the linebackers with the speed. So I'm not expecting much out of him. I hope he's not our starting tight end because then we have a lot of.
No, he's definitely not our starting tight end.
You know, I mean, for 1.8 million, I hope that guy's not starting tight end.
He's a blocking tight end before passing tight end. You just come on here and roast him. Continue, please. I love it.
But listen, man, I watched this guy block. He didn't even put his hands out. He tried to just throw a shoulder into a guy. I'm like, come on, man. This is the NFL. He was a receiver. I get it. But Ricky Seals-Jones, and just as for the Mark guy, the Galinsky, I think he's going to be a starter right off the bat. I think both the guys are going to be starters right off the bat, Feliciano and Galinsky. I think the Giants significantly upgraded their line from last year. It's not like going to be the best line, but it went from below average to about average right now, and we'll see.
I know that's funny.
Seals-Jones is the guy that scored the game-winning TD against us in week 2. Yeah, but he hasn't done anything else since then. Great job. High five. He scored a TD. That's your freaking job.
I mean, he wasn't a start. He wasn't like the starting tight end in Washington either, though. So
right, he was behind Logan Thomas, and he got injured.
All right, Adam, you want to begin with the Eagles?
Fuck the Eagles. Okay. I'll begin with the Eagles. Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, bums. Hassan Reddick I'm worried about because, he's an up-and-coming rusher. I mean, Fletcher Cox still got some game, let's be honest. Anthony Harris, he's not bad. And then DeAndre, I can't read his name there, cashier, agreed to one deal. I think the Eagles are in, the Eagles are a funny team because every year we count them out, somehow they come back in. They got 3 first-round picks this year. Who knows what they're going to do in the draft? They always seem to pluck some random person that's going to be good for their team. So, they're going to try to build around that quarterback, probably get a lineman, maybe another receiver because their receivers aren't great outside Devontae Smith. Why not pair another guy up with them, right? Maybe a Drake London, maybe a Chris Olave, something like that. That's what I would do. Have 2 guys for Jalen Hurts to kind of get the ball to. And maybe a tight end as well.
Yeah, I really got nothing to say about the Eagles too outside of Hassan Reddick. That's a good signing for them. He's a really good linebacker, and he messed us up a few years ago. And he is, he's a really good player. Mac, you have anything to say about the Eagles?
Not much, man. I'm just salty they got Hassan Reddick and he and whatever,
Yeah,
just
let's get it.
they haven't been making that much noise. Honestly, the Eagles haven't been doing
Hmm.
too much other than the big Hassan Reddick signing on the first day of free agency. But other than that, they've been fairly quiet. They're probably waiting, getting ready for all those draft picks, figuring out what they want to do in the draft.
And
But as for
absolutely, as for the Commanders, begin.
but
Or you,
as for
Mac.
Washington, man, Carson
That's the big
Wentz.
news right there.
That's like another thing, like we were talking about at the top of the show about these quarterbacks, man. Once
Mm,
again, people have strong opinions about Carson Wentz, but the reality is also Carson Wentz also is, I'd say he's better than these quarterback prospects that are coming out this year in this draft. I mean, you know what you're getting out of Carson Wentz. See, I mean, he did have 1 year that was almost an MVP season until he got injured. The year that he was won the Super Bowl, but I mean, this guy is not a total, not that scrub that everybody thinks he is. He just makes head scratching mistakes sometimes that makes you wonder what the hell are you thinking. But once the Commanders went out, they feel like they got their guy right now, at least a good bridge quarterback. They may still go out and obviously draft somebody. Maybe they will still draft one of these guys and just let them be able to sit behind Carson Wentz for a couple of years maybe and develop. Who knows what their actual plans are? I don't think at this point Carson Wentz would truly be the long term answer for anybody from what we've seen from him the last couple of seasons. But at the same time, you also do never know. This is back in comfortable territory for him, back in the NFC East. He'll get a chance to play against his former team a couple of times this season, and we'll see. We'll see what they can do, man.
Listen, I agree with you, Mac, to a certain extent with Carson Wentz. My question is, what the hell happened to the guy? He was in the MVP race, in 2017, blows out his knee, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off the bus. Then he goes to Indianapolis after getting traded from the Eagles, and we all know what happened there. You watch the highlights, and he's doing boneheaded shit. Then he goes to the team of the Commanders, and they're like, oh, we're going to revive him. Now, if there's a team that's going to revive Carson Wentz, be it the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whatever the hell you want to call this team, I don't even care anymore. But they are going to be the ones that revive him. For some reason, Ron Rivera is going to get to him, and I feel like while he is caca, we don't have much better in the NFC. We're not talking about like the AFC West here. We're talking about the NFC East. You don't need to be that good to be that good in this division. So, he just needs to be competent. And he's an upgrade over Tyler Heineke. So there's that.
I think Carson Wentz is gonna be a good quarterback for this team. I like you guys' points, but I think that yeah, his situation wasn't. It was supposed to be the best. Him going to the Colts, aligning with his elder offensive coordinator. But at the end of the day, like this is a. I think like Carson Wentz could be a legit and is a legit quarterback in this league. He's like he can play the game of football, and like what Adam said, the alignment with Coach Juan Rivera and just the team that they're gonna put around him, it's up to him to take it and grab it and own the moment. Obviously everybody knows he has an injury prone history, so yeah, it's all on him now. He is, let him command the Commanders. That is funny, but yeah. Other than that, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we get into some WWE news?
I mean, the New York Giants. I mean, we saw Lorenzo. Y'all saw Lorenzo Carter's letter or whatever, his statement he released.
All
Apparently,
right, don't let the door hit you on the way out, Lorenzo. Sorry.
exactly. I'm honestly going to say the same thing like I said about Evan Ingram. I wish the kid the best of luck. Maybe he can go jumpstart his career somewhere else, but it just wasn't going to happen here in New York, man. He just wasn't getting it done. He just couldn't get it done on game day. I got tired of reading about Lorenzo Carter making all these
Potential.
amazing plays in practice and then get there on Sunday and it's like, was this the guy that was doing all the wreaking havoc all week in practice that you've been hyping up all week? I'm tired of it, so he can go ahead and move on to whoever decides to want to give him some money. It's not going to get too much big money, I don't think, because he just hasn't done anything to earn it. So good luck to him. Maybe he can get like a 1 year prove it deal somewhere and get his career back on track. But it wasn't meant to be here in New York, man. Everybody's not built for this city. So
I think the
peace
problem
out,
we have
Lorenzo.
I think the problem that we have these days is we get too loyal to players, right? Because they're drafted by our team. It's time for him to go. I loved Lorenzo Carter when he was drafted. Loved him when he played here. Heck, I welcome him back if he decided he won't come back. But let's be real. 4 years or whatever it was, he didn't really do much. It's the same conundrum we have with other players on our roster that we don't want to dive into. We didn't give him the fair chance. Lorenzo, I hope he blows up. I really want to see that guy do well. Evan Ingram, I don't care if that guy does well. I want to wish people the best with Evan Ingram. He's a nice guy, but he's overrated in my eyes. He's an overrated tight end. Shouldn't probably be a tight end, but you can't do much. You can't move him to tight end to receiver because he's not fast enough to do that. So, I'll miss Lorenzo Carter, but not like I'm going to miss. He's not like the biggest signing that I'm going to miss.
Absolutely. Let's put a pause on this for now and let's talk about the RIP Scott Hall. Obviously, I know a little bit about him, but it's more of not to age you guys. It's more of your guys' generation. I'm gonna let you guys go and give you guys thoughts on his passing and what impact he had for Westland as a whole. He passed away earlier this past week and
On
a half
Monday.
ago
On
on Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, on Monday. So that being said, like that was a legend in the sport, regardless of what anybody says. And he had made an impact on Wesleyan. So I'm gonna let these guys have a moment and say what if they have any thoughts about him.
Razor Ramon was my guy. He kind of got me into that wrestling era. It was him, Shawn Michaels on Superstars on Sunday afternoon, kind of showcasing the WWE. And then he won the Intercontinental title. He wasn't as big as maybe Hulk Hogan or something like that, but he was an iconic character. And then when he went and he moved to WCW, he revolutionized the entire faction game, right, with the NWO. I mean, they basically changed the course and trajectory of not only one company, but the entire wrestling industry. By then, it was all gimmicky. They went to a dark side. They went to an evil side that we hadn't seen. And the WWE was so scared, they had to counter with the D-Generation X. Without NWO, there's no D-Generation X, period.
Totally
I love
agree
it.
with that, man. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Like you said, Jeff, rest in peace to the bad guy. I take it a step further with Scott Hall, man, a little bit. I'll take you all the way back to my introduction to Scott Hall. Back when I was a little kid watching some wrestling, there was a wrestling organization called AWA, man. That's where I first was introduced to Scott Hall, man. He was a young, early 20s superstar, young up and coming star, I should say back then. And a promotion, it was a promotion down promotion down the Texas area, and I watched this guy blossom down there in that organization where a lot of great guys, Kurt Hennig, as most people know, as Mr. Perfect, and a
Yes.
lot of other guys of that type, those type of guys he was wrestling with down there, and then. All of a sudden, somewhere in the '90s, all of a sudden, just he popped up on the scene in WWE, man, as Razor Ramon. You know what I mean? He's had this gimmick where he was like this Cuban guy, and he had the whole Tony Montana accent, the whole Scarface type of persona going on, man. And I like that's Scott. I was thinking like that's Scott Hall, the big country guy from AWA, man, back in the day. And I was like, that's awesome, man. He came and found himself, and he really just took off. That's where his career just skyrocketed, man.
Right.
Became an absolute superstar. Him and Shawn Michaels put on a show in the first ever ladder match that ever went down at
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. WrestleMania. I can't remember what WrestleMania was, but it was
Number 10.
number 10, WrestleMania 10. Thank you, Adam. And they put on a show, man, and for the Intercontinental title. He's one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time in WWE history. And then, like you said, then he moved on to the WCW, and him and Kevin Nash went down there and sparked off the New World Order with Hulk Hogan. That was an absolute game changer because at the time, wrestling and back in the day in wrestling, Hulk Hogan was the absolute ultimate good guy. So when he went to WCW with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash was the secret partner, was a mystery partner at Bash at the Beach back in the '90s, man, and it's people found out it was just crazy the way that whole scene was because the ultimate good guy Hulk Hogan was now being booed by every fan in the arena. They were throwing food into the ring at him, food and drinks at Hulk Hogan of all people, and Scott Hall was a part of that whole entire movement. And like Adam said, the Generation X was the answer to NWO because they had to do something. They had to bring a faction out that could be somewhat equal to what the NWO was doing in WCW. So I totally agree with you, Adam. Without the NWO, there would have never been a DX, and that's how much Scott Hall meant to wrestling in general, man. I mean, he's had a rough go at it since he's retired. He's had a lot of personal issues, substance abuse, and things of that nature. He had gotten all those things under control, and unfortunately, he lost his life due to some complications from a surgery he had to get. And it's just unfortunate, But I just shout out to Scott Hall. He's one of the greatest to ever do it, man. Razor Ramon, whether you want to call him Razor Ramon, whether you want to just call him Scott Hall, man, he's a legend, man. And
Yeah.
it was just wrestling world lost another one, man. And it seems like they just keep losing these great legends in the wrestling world. I mean, maybe because I'm getting a little older now, so all the guys I grew up watching, they're obviously getting older too, So it's
Right,
just
and then you got guys like Goldberg who keep trying to come back. But it's funny if you go on Peacock, there's a documentary of him from 2016, and it kind of documents his life and how he met Kurt Hennig, how he actually got caught for manslaughter back in the day when he was in a Miami club as a bouncer. So and how that demon might have followed him and led him to some of the things that led him down some bad paths. But for me, I've always liked him. I think WCW was the best thing, but worst thing for him. It was the best thing because we got the NWO, but the worst thing because a lot of his demons caught up with him in WCW. So we couldn't get the full Scott Hall effect that we all needed. But in honor of Scott Hall, I just want to say, hey yo.
what up, Chico?
I love it. Let's get it. That is probably gonna wrap up our questions for today. Make sure you guys please hit that sub button, hit that like button if you're in the mood. Please, these guys' links are down in the description below. So hit up their channels as well. They drop a lot of amazing content. So we got Mac with all of his amazing content that he does. He does streams on the WWE. So make sure you go check those out. And we got Adam at the Hurry Up, his daily news and information about the NFL, all due Giants and everything that's surrounding. Do you guys want to talk a bit about the NBA or anything? Because I'm out of questions. If you guys have anything you guys want to talk about NBA, get back into free agency, get back.
Well,
into
before I get to the NBA, I want to jump into what Jeff's saying here. AJ Styles Edge should be an incredible Mania match. Yes, I think that's going to be one of the best matches we'll see at Mania. I think it steals the show personally because those two guys can really work, and you're going to see these two icons. And if you don't know AJ Styles, you need to go read up on him because his run in the WWE has been short, but it's been iconic. And if he were in the WWE longer, we'd be talking about him with Michaels and all those other guys. But he was with the Ring of Honor.
That was just one of the best.
Yeah, he was with the Ring of Honor. Then he went to Japan Wrestling, and NWA and all that stuff. And then he comes over here and basically steals the show as a rookie. Well, an older rookie, I guess, in WWE. And to have Edge come back, Edge needs opponents. I feel like the Edge coming back is needed for the WWE because his story is not finished to be written. He didn't get a chance to defend the title when his neck broke, and now he should be able to have his own swan song, so to speak, as he lives out the last few years of his in-ring career. So to have a guy like, and now what he's doing, Edge, no pun intended, being edgier than he normally is, coming out in a blue light and talking to the crowd. This is great. Edge is going to a place you haven't seen before. I love the way he can change it up, and we'll see if AJ Styles responds on Monday. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Mac, but I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, I totally agree that that's going to be the showstopper. That's going to be is absolutely going to probably be the best match between the two nights on WrestleMania. But also, I was saying it's good to see Edge coming out and maybe going on this one last great heel run, maybe. And I was as I'm seeing that happen, going over in AEW, and you're watching Chris Jericho do the same thing over there, man, as he just crossed over back to the dark side,
that's
man.
with the updates.
And Chris Jericho seems to be going on one last big heel run as well as he turned on his guys a couple weeks ago on AEW. And shout out on AEW, shout out to my girl Thunder Rosa finally holding it down, getting that women's title on AEW, man.
There you go, taking it from my girl Brittany.
Gotta say it was long overdue. Long overdue. Thunder Rosa's been putting that work in. She really ain't even that experienced, all things considered. So it's kind of amazing how she's already developed to this level of talent, where she's winning world titles and against people the caliber of Britt Baker. That was an epic cage match on last Wednesday night. and I like what they're doing over there in AEW and WrestleMania. I'm still not, right now, honestly, not overall too excited for much about it, other than the fact that it's WrestleMania and, like you said, the AJ Styles match, the Edge match. But I'm still not sure how I'm feeling about the Brock and Roman match, man.
Oh, terrible.
I'm just not sure what they really gonna do with that, man. It's, the build up for it is a little over the
Well,
top, kind of corny. I
did you
don't
see last
know.
week?
Yeah, I did. I did. I saw the whole thing with the forklift thing and all that
That was
stuff.
kind of
And
cool. I'm not gonna
it
lie to
was,
you there. That
I
was kind
mean,
of like a little bit what we need for this matchup. Now, for me, Mac, I think they're going to give the title to Brock Lesnar. I don't know how you feel because if you're going to unify the title, who do you think is a bigger career, Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns?
well, I mean, if they're gonna, I think you gotta, if you unify a title, you gotta give it, you gotta start off with Brock Lesnar because he's just the draw. Roman Reigns has developed into that level of superstar where people he sells out arenas as well, but Brock Lesnar is the draw. You know what I mean?
But
So,
there's something
I
about
mean,
Roman that doesn't get me going. Like when I see Brock Lesnar, I get goosebumps. When I see The Rock, I get goosebumps. When I see Roman Reigns, I'm like, again.
We don't do call-ins no more, Raphael, but we appreciate you being here. And if you have a question, please leave it in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to it. Thank you, Lavance, for the updates. Duke is leading Michigan, 78-74 at 1 minute and 7 seconds left. What's up, Slay? Thank you so much for being here, and you guys can continue.
No, that's basically it. I'm just curious, like what I was saying to Mac, if they're going to put it on Brock or Roman, and who would they
Like you
go
said,
with
Brock
forward?
should get the belt.
Yeah, I agree with that there because not that I don't like Roman Reigns, but you've had the title for 586 days. I'm sick of seeing you every week, man.
it's definitely time for a change.
Have
It's
you
time
guys
for
seen
just
Brock's interview on Big Pat McAfee's experience, the Big Pat McAfee show? It's a really good one. He's super he's humble but Brock, and you get to see a different side of him. But yeah, I'm so tired of the same
I love Pat McAfee.
same thing. I love Pat McAfee too.
He's
That's
the reason I
well,
tune in SmackDown every week. That guy is like Jerry the King Lawler with muscles. He's just funny. You're sitting there and
He's awesome.
he's like, Michael Cole, can you believe this? And you're just like, dude, he's dancing on the table when Shinsuke Nakamura comes out. Who, by the way, they should win the WWE titles, tag titles, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Booz, because those guys, I really like them a lot.
they're fun to watch. They're definitely fun to watch. But is that match still a one-on-one match? I believe it's still just those two teams. They're just them against the other. Yeah, Shinsuke and Rick Booz against the Usos, right? Yeah, but I'm not sure if they're ready to take the belts off the Usos yet. It depends. I'm not. I'm not. I was just not. I'm really not sure how they want to handle that situation with the Usos.
It's like
But
the Johnny Knoxville match.
I feel like it could maybe be the Usos win their belts, keep their held on to their titles. Roman loses his, and then it's like that, almost like that changing of guard in the bloodlines. Like where Roman, you the one that ain't got no title, bro. we holding it down now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but what does that happen though, Mac? Like if that happens, where do they go from there? Like what is he going to do?
I mean, I really don't know. WWE never. I don't know because you never know what WWE's got up their sleeves anyway. They might bring somebody new completely in from out of nowhere and just be like, "Here, you're going to be a champion now." Just because.
Well, I mean, at least if they're going to do that, at least make it Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Booz. They're fun. You know, they're like new. They're like RK Bro. Like I love that tag team. They're fun. Matt Riddle's like you're like a dude you want to hang out with on a Saturday. I'm like, bro. Yeah. You're like, all right, man. I can dig it. I can dig your vibe.
Guys, I went to Friday Night SmackDown last Friday night in the first row. Nice, Raphael. So we should the camera
awesome,
should have picked
Raphael.
you up.
Nice,
Hell
awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff. Cody is coming to be careful. That was really amazing. Nice. I like Alpha Academy. I absolutely hate the Alpha Academy, but I like the little thing they're doing.
Highlight Lance's comment here. This is it. This is throwback right here. I think Mac might know a little bit more about this tag team than me with the Hart Foundation and the Strike Force, Santana and Rick Martel.
If you remember that Strike Force, man, Tito Santana, my guy, hit you with that flying burrito, man. That was my dude.
The
I
flying
love it.
burrito. I love
The model
it.
march. It wasn't really called the flying. Jesse the Body Ventura used to be a commentator back in the day, and he was always just disrespectful as hell. He would call it the flying
Oh
burrito.
my God.
It was like a fly. It was like a flying forearm. He, do like a flying forearm or something, and Jesse the Body Ventura would always call it like that flying
Oh, you mean
burrito.
he put a little too much English on it, huh?
But
I love
yeah,
it.
that's the classic days of wrestling, man. Those are the era I grew up in, Advance, man. So I know all about that.
Exactly. What do you think about Vader going to the Hall of Fame?
I think it's long overdue. I wish they could have got him in before he passed away. To be honest, I liked Vader. I always liked Vader. I thought the nostalgia of when he first, especially when he first came out, that big old mask, shoulder
Yeah.
pad mask thing,
Yes.
intimidating, the steam flying out of it.
Vader.
That shit was awesome, man. It was just intimidating, especially at the time when he came out with something like that. It was just nobody was doing
That
anything
Bigelow
like that.
speech.
Yeah, people weren't doing stuff like that, so it was just really. I always liked it, and he was one of the first big athletic guys that I can remember too. Vader
Yeah.
can move
Didn't he do?
around.
Didn't he do a backflip off the ropes?
Yeah, he did. He did moonsaults and shit. Vader can move around, man.
Like
I
So
that's
watched him
great.
wrestle a little bit. I know who you guys are talking about, but that was kind of before my time as well.
hey,
Yeah,
that
we're
was
old here, man. That's
No,
you're
no,
dealing
no. I
with
wasn't trying to age you guys. I
some old heads on here doing some throwback wrestling. We're the ones in the walkers. We're like Scott Hall, man. Woo! Hulk Hogan with the bad hip come out and do the
I,
leg drop. You know.
I would love to
Love
see
it.
the Steiner brothers go into the Hall of Fame, man. I'm
Oh,
not
they
sure
deserve it.
what's holding that up. Maybe now that we got Braun Breaker in the NXT, they'll show some love to his dad, get him in the Hall of Fame, man. Because
Didn't
Rick
they do that
Steiner,
with
Scott
British
Steiner
Bulldog?
definitely belong in the Hall of Fame. I
Steiner
feel like
brothers,
they
baby.
I feel like they did do something like that with British Bulldog.
A lot of those legendary tag teams need to be in the Hall of Fame. The Nasty Boys. I mean, come on. You know, like those are iconic when the tag divisions were the tag divisions. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have
Absolutely.
these guys didn't always like Vader never really won too many titles, but he was so bad that it was like, all right, we're cool with you not winning titles. You know, like Bam Bam
He,
Bigelow. He just
Bam,
had
bam.
a bald head, tattoo, flames on his leotards.
another athletic big man, by the way. Bam Bam Bigelow was another
Love
athletic
that
big
guy.
man. And
War or Bond Breaker, says NYG Jeffrey. Says Jeffrey.
I like Braun Breaker only because I like how he's so similar to his dad. He reminds me kind of like of a 2022 version of his father, and I appreciate that because I was a big Rick Steiner guy back in the day. He does comes out to the ring, salutes his dad with the trademark bark when he comes down to the ring. He still wears the amateur siglet like amateur wrestlers. So he represents his father so much in each and every way when he comes out to that ring, and I just appreciate what he does in the ring. I think he's going to be probably one of the next big, huge thing in wrestling from what I can see right now. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to keep him down at NXT, but as long as he stays injury free, he's going to become probably the next big thing. He's off and running, man. So I like Braun Breaker.
Hell yeah, Adams. Any thoughts? Alrighty. Let's get into Logan. That's funny. He says, Logan, I think you better watch out for Ralph Mysterio. I love it. Salutes. Let's get it. You guys want to continue WWE? If not, you guys we can talk about free agency. If not, we can talk about basketball or whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't really have nothing to say about basketball. I just put it out there. You know, Miami Heat leading the division. Already know it. Heat Nation. Just waiting for the playoffs to start. That being said, guys, thank you guys all for joining. If you guys have any questions in the comment, please leave it. We'll answer it. If not, we talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Mac, Adam,
I mean, I'm just watching the end. I'm sorry, watching the end of this Michigan State and Duke game.
Nice. You want to give some updates on that game?
It is just phenomenal, man. These guys are balling right now. It's coming down right down to the wire. And we got Duke trying to hang on, man. Hang on to this victory. This is Coach K's last tournament. So I know they want to go deep into this tournament, make a big run for Coach K.
Absolutely, he's
So he can
retiring
go
after it, the most winningest coach in college history.
so he can go out as a champion one more time, man.
Hmm.
And right now, this is a dogfight, man. ACC versus the Big Ten. These are two Power Five conferences, man. Going toe to toe. Second round of the NCAA tournament. You can't ask for better, man. Like I said, this tournament is just.
Logan, we're going all the way, Logan.
And that's a good question with Jeffrey real fast. When will Ben Simmons play? That's true. And he
When
says
hell
no net.
freezes over, I don't know. That guy doesn't want to play basketball. He just doesn't want to play basketball,
That is money.
man.
Ben
He's
Simmons
not going
is
anywhere
soft.
this year. We are going, man. We have a
He is
roster.
soft.
If
He
everybody
really
can
is,
stay
man.
healthy.
He's
We have a
soft.
championship-ready roster,
SOF
and
capital T. Soft.
Ben Simmons is soft,
You know
yes.
what I mean?
And we are going someplace this year. I hope so. You know what I'm saying? Heat Nation, let's get it.
Nobody's going. The Heat are going nowhere. We'll see the Heat
Heat
in the conference finals,
Nation.
baby. Okay?
Let's get
We'll
it.
see you there. All right. And then when we do see you there, Zion, you better be ready because it's going to be trash
Oh,
talk central on
I
this
am going to be
podcast.
ready. I'm going to be ready. Let's just pull that up. You see us right there, topping it off. with
Oh,
47
look at that.
for easily
Brooklyn
winning
number
the
6. We
Eastern
get to avoid you
Conference.
till the conference finals. You don't want none of this smoke. You don't want none of this smoke, man. You Kevin
Oh,
Durant is going to be
man.
dropping J's on him. Whoop,
Yeah,
whoop.
you can take your nets, and okay, I respect Kyrie Irving, I respect KD, but okay, after that, like what do you guys got?
Wait, if it were to end today, we would play you, right? 8 versus.
We'll smash you guys.
Well, guess what's going to happen? We're going to eliminate you in the
He's
first
gonna
round,
go
and then
off.
we'll
Ain't
cruise
gonna
you to
happen.
the conference
Ain't gonna happen.
championship.
Ain't gonna happen. You guys, no, no.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Nets have been on fire, man. They've been
It's
making
in
a run. I
reality.
mean, ever since KD came back, man, they're it's serious, man. The level of
In
play has stepped
reality.
up for the
Get
They
to know
did
this
too,
face.
I was
and for
watching
Ben
that one
Simmons.
game.
If Ben
Get to
Simmons
know
couldn't
this face.
handle Philly,
Let's go for
he
you.
definitely ain't gonna be able to handle New York. So he better get his ass together, man, and get
Man,
on that
Ben
court.
Simmons, I'm not even worried about that guy. Who is he? Who is he? Is he like the cook or something like that? I don't care about that guy. He ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? Let that guy go down to the lobby or to the club lounge and have a drink, have a cocktail on Brooklyn Nets, man. We don't need you. We just got you out of Philadelphia just to get you out of Philadelphia. We'll take Drummond. We'll take the other pieces you gave us, and you just let KD do his stuff. And if Kyrie, see, here's the thing: if Kyrie comes in and plays and is on fire like he was in the Cavaliers when they won the title, then
You just mean if he plays the Kyrie Irving?
yes.
Yes.
And hey, you know what? The playoffs does that to people sometimes. You know, the playoffs will do that. That
Kyrie
Brooklyn
Irving's a baller.
parquet floor, that gray floor, you're gonna get swallowed up by the gray sea. Okay.
It looks like Duke has officially sealed the deal. We're only 3.9
Did we
seconds
pick
left.
Duke?
They
That's right,
have an
yes, it was a huge
8-point
pickup
lead.
as well.
We did not pick Duke to advance here.
What assholes are we?
You guys didn't believe in Coach K. What the fuck?
Yeah, really. I blame myself for that, Mac. I'm sorry.
Let's move down to the Western Conference. I think Golden State Warriors are becoming like the young Golden State Warriors team with both the Splash Brothers back. Obviously, they haven't been playing like true.
Man, I ain't
obviously-
worried about them.
Anyhow, they've been playing good football, and we obviously got the Phoenix Suns on top winning it. You know, any thoughts
I
about the
love-
Western Conference?
I love what Levance is doing in the chat right there, breaking down all these picks the Philadelphia Sixers have had, these top picks the Sixers have had over the years. And the only one that's panned out is Joel Embiid.
Markel Fultz.
Literally the only one.
Hey, Markel Fultz is a pretty good player.
He is now. He wasn't in Philly
Yeah,
at
he
all.
was.
I don't think
Not
people
at all
like
in Philly.
Philadelphia.
That draft. Markel Fultz won. The other kid from the Lakers, the Lonzo Ball was 2 to the Lakers that year. That was a joke. That chose those guys, man. Both
I'd
of
love
them,
to see the
man.
Suns go there. See the Suns should have won last year, but they got injuries caught up with them. And Milwaukee played a different brand of basketball they weren't used to, and that was they played a little bit more physical down low in the low post, and their big man didn't come through. Guyton was just, he was tired. He looked like he was tired. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited about Devin Booker. See if he can do something. I'm not really worried about the Warriors because I want to watch the Warriors. They don't have the edge that they used to have. when they had KD, when they had all those guys on their winning teams. Yeah, the Splash Brothers are good, but can they win when the shots aren't going down? Like, can they find offense elsewhere? That's what I'm worried about.
They can still shoot the lights out though.
Yeah, well, so can Kevin Durant. And if the lights go out, it's because they didn't pay their bills. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, look, KD is inside and outside. The Seth brothers or the Splash brothers, whatever you want to call them, okay, they can only play 3-point game. If their game is off, they have nothing. Kevin Durant doesn't need to score threes to be effective in the game. He says, hold it down. He left. He didn't tell us he was leaving. Well, I am holding it down. I'm making some mistakes out here. How about that?
Coach K just won his 1200th career game.
Damn.
1299th career NCAA tournament game.
1299.
And they are both records for the most all time.
He's like Tom Brady, man.
I mean, he's been around as long as I can remember. I mean, ever since I was a little kid.
Right.
Coach K's been the coach of Duke, so.
I mean, we're kind of old, man. I mean, we're not old, but we're kind of there. I mean, so if he was there when we was kids.
I mean, I'm 45, bro. So yeah, definitely. He's been there as long as I remember. I always remember I remember when Coach K had a full head of black hair, jet black hair. You know what I mean? Like wasn't no grays in that thing. So
full head of black hair. I remember when I had a full head of black hair. Those are the good old days. Nah, but seriously, we'll see what's good, Hit Squad. We'll see what's happening, man. I mean, Coach K, this is his last season, I think. And, wouldn't it be fitting? I don't want it to be fitting because I'm rooting for Villanova for you, man. But wouldn't it be fitting for them to get to the tournament, to the Final Four and to the championship, and he goes out on top? Now, I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying it'd be interesting.
The way the brackets are set up, they can go to the championship game and face Villanova in the title game. They're on opposite sides of the bracket, so you never know. See how that? I wouldn't mind seeing that in the finals. Of course, needing Villanova.
I think Coach K too is like we was talking about him. He's the most winningest coach in the background. I'm sorry, my homie's trying to sell a controller right now, so we got some background noise, but it's all good. And yes, what's up, Hit Squad? Thank you for being here. Let's get it. Hold it down, fam.
So, anyways, I mean, the NBA, the playoffs are getting heated up. Last 2 or 3 weeks of the season should be a fun ride to the end. We'll see what happens. I like to watch Luka in the playoffs if the Dallas makes it. I can't tell right now if they're where they are. Yeah, they're in the middle of their 5. So we'll see what happens, man. I mean, the NBA playoffs are a little different. While they're exciting, they're a little bit more predictable than the NFL playoffs. The NFL playoffs, who thought the Bengals were going to the Super Bowl? Nobody. Right? But you can probably say that Phoenix will most likely end up in the Western Conference Finals. They don't have the same upsets they normally do in any of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So for me, we'll see what happens. It's about, old school wins, Mac. I don't know about you, but old school basketball wins, inside, outside game, low post, score inside the paint, drag it out. That's how I win basketball.
That's how I feel, man. That's why I can't get into today's NBA as much, man, because I just feel like it's a different game than what I grew up watching. Like I said, I respect the athletes. I mean, I'm not knocking the athletes. These guys are very talented.
2-inch vertical.
But at the same time, like I said, the big man is dead in the NBA anymore, as far as I'm concerned. It's just the classic big man. I grew up watching the Patrick Ewings and the Hakeem Olajuwons bang in the paint. And Hakeem Olajuwon could go outside and do things out around the perimeter as well, but he also get down low. He get down low and handle his business as a big man. He knew he still knew he was a 7-footer and he handled his business in the paint. I just don't see a lot of that anymore. I mean, in the NBA, it's a lost art, man.
It's funny.
Those old school Georgetown centers.
It's funny you say that, man, because I came up at the end of that era, right? My era is more the Tim Duncan era, right? I mean, I came up in the mid-'90s, the end of the Jordan era, then Tim Duncan, Juwan Howard, and those guys came in, right? So I got to see the end of David Robinson's career. I got to see the end of Olajuwon's career. I got to see the end of Patrick Ewing's career. So for me, I didn't get to see them in their prime. It's like being a Giant fan and not getting to see LT play, man. It's one of the things that I can't I force my mom to be like, hey, man, you should have had me in 1980. You know what I mean? Instead of so I could have viewed it. But it's one of those things I loathe to watch, right? And you're right, the big man is gone in the NBA, man. They kind of shoot now. That's why I was like in Milwaukee last year, because the reason they beat everybody is they played a little old school basketball. They got a little grimy with it. They dunked on you. They had a little swagger when they dunked on you. They made you earn every point up and down the floor, right? So we'll see.
What's up, Miz? Thank you for being us. We're just talking some playoffs, talking some
And Miz,
basketball. Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you for being
Miz,
us. Let's
Miz
get it.
loves comp picks. He seems to know the formula so well. Not
Let's get it. Hell yeah.
comp pick.
So, Miz, now that you're here, is there any team in the obviously we know you're a Knicks fan, but is there any team in the Western Conference that you think is gonna go all the way and compete for the finals? Obviously, we just got done talking about the Phoenix Suns. I think they have a really good contender team. The team is obviously gonna be there, I think, in the finals. They have good all around players and they're doing good. Is there any team that you may like that want to see in the finals?
I mean, I don't.
You can go, Mac. You can talk.
I just don't know. I don't
Yeah, the
really.
Suns.
Like I said, I don't really follow close enough, and I really, I mean, I know Phoenix is a very talented basketball team, have a very good chance of representing the Western Conference, but I don't have much thoughts on this because, like I said, the NBA to me is pretty soft now, and I just can't get into it. And no matter how much I try, I usually don't even watch it until the playoffs these last few years. I
That's
just
been
wait
me
until
too, dude.
just wait
Honestly.
until the playoffs start. I do love Ja Morant. He is an
Hmm.
animal. I do like watching that kid play. He plays above the rim, and I wish people like him, superstars like him, would enter dunk contests because that's who the crowd wants to see. They want to see the Ja Morants of the world in a dunk contest, not the whoever the hell these guys were that was in it this past year. Because I never want to see any of those guys anywhere near a dunk contest ever again. Sorry to revisit that, but I just couldn't help it. That's just
Nah, you're Gucci, bro. You're Gucci. I love it. Hell yeah, Adam. Is you have any final thoughts about NBA?
Not really. I said my piece.
To get it. Other than that, guys, if you guys have any final thoughts or any final subjects you guys want to talk about, let's talk about it. If not, we're probably gonna wrap it up a little bit earlier today. What do you guys want to do?
Well, let's touch on a few things. Giant football related. Like this is the best
Yes, sir.
offseason I've seen in a long time in terms of the entire NFL, not just the Giants. I'm enjoying every move, and like Mac, I'm already fired up and ready to go, and it's only March. So I can only hope the Giants. I feel like they're going in the right direction. They
Still
got
have
great
5 more months,
football.
Adam. You still have 5 more months.
Listen,
It's gonna be
man,
so good. But continue. I'm sorry to cut
but
you off.
you got the draft coming up, which is exciting. Everyone moving up the draft board, and this whole free agency has changed the dynamic of the draft. Right, people are now flexible, like Max said, to do things. So I'm looking forward to that, and of course, hanging out with you guys for the remainder of the off season. So
I mean, yeah, and like you just said, it's been a crazy week. This past opening week of free agency, it's been nuts, man. Like it's so many moves going on, so much change now. Teams have absolutely just reconstructed themselves. I mean, how about Cincinnati Bengals? They went to the Super Bowl this past season. They add Lyle Collins, come add to their offensive line, help protect Joe Burrow. I mean, that's a big move for that team with
brilliant
all the
move.
weapons with all the weapons they have coming back already. They need and once they improve that defense a little bit, which they can address that heavily in the draft as well as the rest of free agency. They're going to still be a contender and out in the AFC. The AFC is shaping up. I guess Zion, you're not going to remember this, but once in the '80s and the early '90s, man, the NFC was the absolute dominant conference in football. The NFC was. The
Yes, sir.
NFC won. I don't even know how many Super Bowls in a row in the '80s, from the '80s through the '80s and into the '90s. So
Pretty much all of them.
yeah, it was insane. The streak was insane. It
Till
was
I think
insane.
until I think about
The, De- the Denver
1998.
the Denver Broncos broke the streak when they
Right.
when they when they
There's
beat
even, that's when like Jerry Jones just first bought the team, right? And Dallas kept on winning and stuff like that. He thought it
Like
was gonna
he
be like
brought the
that
team
for
in
a long
like
time.
the mid '80s,
The
and
mid
then
'80s, but like when you think about, because didn't Eagles, well, they didn't win against the Patriots, but like the Washington Giants and Cowboys
yes, they
ended
all
together.
won.
Yeah.
At some the Cowboys didn't win in the 80s, but the Cowboys and Redskins
What
and
90s?
49ers all won in the 80s. Then, in the 90s, it went the Giants, the Redskins,
The
the Cowboys,
Redskins, Cowboys.
the 49ers, Cowboys again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then Green
49ers,
Bay, not Green Bay, then Green Bay, and then Denver in 97.
49ers were a dynasty in the 80s. The Cowboys were a dynasty in the
Joe
90s.
Montana.
It was just absolutely the NFC absolutely dominated. And then in the AFC is looking like they're shaping up to maybe go on one of those kind of runs now because other than Russell Wilson and them quarterbacks out in the AFC, them guys ain't that they're not that old. They're not like old men ain't out there. They got a lot of football left to be played with those quarterbacks and those teams. They can stay healthy and keep them for the most part together. They've loaded up, and I think it's gonna be some crazy football in the AFC, man. It's gonna be a slugfest. Those playoffs are gonna be fun to watch. I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but it's gonna be a hell of a year, man. I can't wait for football season to come back.
But think about it, like with Russell Wilson going to Denver now, like mostly all the quarterbacks are in the AFC, right? Like
Yeah,
mostly all of them. That's
every team's
crazy.
got a
Most of the
quarterback.
top ones.
Yeah.
Any,
That's
wait,
nuts.
every team's got a quarterback that's in at least the top 15 in their on their
Yes.
team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Derek Carr, let's say he's 15, Russell Wilson maybe 12, and then the other two guys are in the top 10.
It's absolutely fact.
And meanwhile, in the NFC, the lowly NFC, we got Dak Prescott, who people don't like. We got Commander Carson.
Aaron Rodgers.
Daniel, I don't know what we're going to do with him in his
All
fifth
right.
year, Jones. And then of Jalen Hurst, who nobody likes either. So
But if you just look at the NFC as a whole, you got Aaron Rodgers. You what? Who else?
man, I ain't worried about Aaron Rodgers. He's going to
No,
choke
no,
in
no.
the
I'm just saying
playoffs
compared to the
anyway.
AFC quarterbacks, right? The AFC got all the good quarterbacks.
Got
Yeah,
Jimmy
Tom
G.
Brady.
Well, Tom Brady too. There you go.
Hey
Aaron
man,
Rodgers and
Jameis
Tom
Winston's
Brady.
coming back to the Saints. He's going to dominate.
Yeah, let's get it.
Can't forget about Sam Darnold.
Oh my God,
Oh man.
Mac, you just made me throw up my mouth. I think I just threw up my
Commander
mouth.
Corson.
Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky. Ugh.
I love it. Is there any draft pick that you guys want? Like that we now that we're about to end it, but I just had this final question. Is there any draft pick that you guys now that we're signing some offensive linemen? Does it change where you guys want to go in the draft? Obviously, it changes for me. And is there any stud that you guys still want to draft at picks 5 or pick 7? The one stud that you guys want the most out of anybody. I want. Let me start it off. I want Kayvon. If Kayvon is there at 5, I'm taking Kayvon. I don't know if Kayvon's gonna fall to 5, but I want him. And then I'm gonna turn it over to Adam.
5 for me has to be one of the linemen if they fall, and at 7, I it's a toss up between Jermaine Johnson and Thibodeau. I love them both. Jermaine Johnson, I'm leaning towards. I thought he was the best overall pass rusher in the draft. So I don't care if you get the lineman at 5. I don't care what you do at 7, as long as you don't draft, a kicker or something like that.
True that.
It's a New York Giant Nation probably going to crucify me for this, but I've fallen in love with a new guy, man, at the top end of the draft. And Logan put him up in there for me already, Mr. Sauce Gardner, man. I know everybody like we don't need a cornerback at 5 or 7, but Sauce Gardner is that dude, man. He
You're gonna
is
be adding
that
anyone to
dude.
your steaks on Sunday, huh, Mac?
And I've fallen in love with this guy, man. And I'm honestly would not be upset at all if we make him one of those picks. Use one of those picks on him, man. Straight up, man. Absolutely in love with Sauce.
I agree with you there. I mean, he's a pretty good player, so I wouldn't be too shabby about that.
I know the narrative is we shouldn't take a cornerback. We're not going to need a cornerback, especially if Bradbury does come back. I'm not sure still what the situation there is.
He ends up being a great player. Who's going to care, right?
But that's the whole point where I'm getting. You know exactly where I'm going. If he turns out to be great, nobody's going to give a damn anyway. And I think this kid is going to be great. He is a phenomenal. His tape is just it speaks for itself.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
Lasagna is one of my favorite dishes, Levance. I love Italian food, man.
Yeah, Italian food is my favorite cuisine.
Oh, I'm making steaks tonight, fellas. Otherwise, I would have a lasagna with meat as well. Love the meat. No, not meatless lasagna. Meat.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm out of questions for today, and I did want to talk it over with Mac and Adam before I brought it up, but I'm actually gonna bring it up to you guys because you guys are a part of this too. The chat. Obviously, we said that we're not gonna have any call-ins no more at the beginning of the show, but we all love you guys and we love hearing from you guys, and you guys make the show. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be coming live and talking, because we come live also to give our information and to give our opinions, but also to see and run into all of you great people. Miz, Levance, Jeffrey, Logan, all of you guys wonderful that's holding on the chat. Adam and Mac, how would you guys feel? Like, obviously everyone's schedule is busy and stuff like that, but we usually do 2 hours on Sunday. But how would you guys feel if we and chat? Let us know too if you guys are in the mood, and if you guys, how would you guys feel doing like more like 2 shows a week, 2 premium takes a week, but we do it 45-minute sessions? How do you guys like that? 45-minute to an hour sessions. Would you guys mind that, Mac or Adam?
Mac? I don't mind it. I mean, if we can fit it in and we can get
Yeah.
it in there and get our topics out, because I feel like we miss a lot during the week, and that we're
That's a
rehashing
good
a lot
idea.
of the
Yes.
information that's happening. If it's a weekly, if it was the NFL, we'd have something to go on, right? We'd have something to talk about, preview, kind of work around. But because we don't have much, the
Mhm.
sports happen, and then all of a sudden we come back and you already know the score of the game and all the analysis because you read it all, right? So
Also include Miz in one of them. I love it. We'll talk it over with the guys and we'll see how that goes. I love it. Mac, do you have a post for that?
No, I'm good with that, man. We can make it work as long as depend. We got to figure out what day
The
we would do the
time
other
and
show, but the time and
absolutely.
day. But I
We'll
work
figure
I
that
work I
out.
work Monday to Fridays, and I work
Got
early
you,
in the
got
day.
you.
So
Yeah, we'll try to figure out everyone's schedule before we do anything like that, and that also too will bring some other topics. Now that it's the off season, we'll start talking about other topics as well. I know we wanted to get into more of I know we talked about other topics such as movies and music and pop culture and stuff like that. And if we have one show dedicated to sports for a good length, and maybe one show dedicated to other shit for a good length, I think that'll be good for premium takes, because premium takes as a whole, we want to build it to be the number one podcast on YouTube and in the world. Fuck you, Joe Rogan. I'm just saying, I'm just joking. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. That being said, man, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we end it tonight?
no, man. I just want to say thanks for being a good host and facilitating these questions. Chat, I love you guys being in here, giving us your feedback on things and helping us grow a conversation. Without you guys, the show is nothing. And Mac, love hanging out with you, man. You get me fired up. I think we're like two peas in a pod when it comes to our takes sometimes. Zion, you're a great host. I think we all work well together. Let's keep the show rolling.
Absolutely.
you know it, man. I love you guys too, man. I'm over here. I'm working on some things. I got some technical difficulties I'm dealing with this computer, man. It's pissing me the hell off. Keep having to mute my mic because I don't know if you can hear that weird noise in the background. That is definitely me.
We
With
could
that
hear it,
weird
but it wasn't even bothering us, man.
with that weird ass noise. And it's unfortunately my stupid ass computer sound like a car that's on its last legs.
Running that
And
voice
You got
well,
that chug going.
absolutely.
so I'm sitting there dealing with that, and I'm glad you guys can work with me while I'm sitting there dealing with that issue. And I just love
My
everybody in the chat, all the supporters come through. Levance, Jeff, Miz, Logan, man, you guys are all great, man. It's always fun bringing this show to y'all
bless
each
you
and
as well,
every
my
week.
friend.
But we can definitely double it up, you know what I mean, and do that. Do it twice a week. We just figure out, work out a time and a day. We can always make it happen, man. I can make it. I can always make anything happen, bro.
Absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. Yeah, and like Mac, you're here complaining about your setting. Don't even worry about it, bro. I have my homie full on seller controller off of Craigslist right now. Had people come by the crib and made a deal in the middle of the show. So I had to mute my mic too for a second. But thank both of you guys for holding it down. And yes, thank you, chat. That being said, until another take of Premium Takes, this has been Premium Takes. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please sub and like all these amazing content creators here, not only on screen, but also in the chat. Let's get it. Giants for life. You guys have a wonderful night, a wonderful morning, a wonderful day,
Peace.
wherever you guys are watching from. Let's get it.